So we should help those in power to construct a new big other to prevent panic. This is what I find so horrifying in it. How the subjective position of enunciation of Miller is so automatically solidarity with those in power. The very perspective is the perspective of those in power, how to prevent panic, how to keep the situation under control. And the reply is, again, pure cynicism. We know it's a fake, but people need a fake. We should help people to accept the new fake, the new illusion. Okay, I don't want to lose time here with other Miller's incredibly primitive comments. For example, on Obama, he did a kind of almost Jungian reading, undignified of a Lacanian, that Obama won because obviously his sympathy was Sarah Palin. He's one of those who had a crush on Sarah Palin. 3 weeks before elections, he already wrote Obama off. He said Sarah Palin is in. He is a new post-feminist woman with bitchy feminine irony, undermining, making Obama seem impotent, weak, and so on. Then, how to explain Obama's victory? He resorted to Jungian argumentation, claiming that Obama cheated in the sense that he manipulated all the old religious messianic archetypes. That Obama didn't talk politics at all, but referred to this religious, I come to bring Savior, and that he posited himself as practically, this is my reading, as a Michael Jackson of politics. Neither white nor black, neither woman nor man. So that he resuscitated all this religious mythology to be, with all my criticism about Obama. Incidentally, so that you will not think, some people reproach me, how can you be a leftist and write about enthusiasm about Obama? No, the enthusiasm was just, and I still think this is a great event. I spoke recently on phone with Alain Badiou, and who told me, we can make fun of Americans, but in Europe we wouldn't be able to elect somebody like Obama, which means for the Germans to elect a Turk as a president or whatever, no? For you, even an Irish guy, maybe. not an Indian. So that's still a great thing. But I think if you ask me, Obama will turn out to be the greatest liberal conservative president, the way it looks now. He will be the best thing that can happen to the American establishment. But still, I don't compromise things here. Something happened, which is why what I quoted in my text, which was published on the online by London Review of Books. I can even tell you the name he authorized me. I didn't invent it. It wasn't myself when I referred to a radical leftist friend of mine who was crying for hours. It was Ed Kadava, the Princeton Derridean, how to put it, who told me that he has no illusions. He knew Obama made all the, but he knew nonetheless, he told me he cried all the night and so on. No? So I understand that. I mean, let's not be ashamed of it. It was an authentic, great event. Why? Because an event is when, how should I put it, the limits of the possible somehow were displaced. It's incredible how many people, even my friends, secretly said, you know, this fear of, how you call that effect, when people publicly they say, of course, Obama, but privately, my God, a nigger will not rule me, you know, like, they were even, we all had this skepticism, and it's nice. These are truly sublime moments when we intellectuals are proven to be too cynical, distrusting people, and that at least a little bit people can nicely surprise you. But, so back to ideology here, my main line, and economy. The reason I find this crisis meltdown so instructive is that it effectively confronted us at its purest, as it were, with the problem, which is ideology today. Let me quote Alain Badiou, his short comment on crisis published in a letter to Le Monde. Quote, one demands absolutely from ordinary citizens to understand that it is not possible to fill in the financial gap of the social security, but that without counting the billions, one should fill in the gap of the banks. End of quote. And I think one should generalize this Badiou statement. When we fight AIDS, hunger, lack of water, global warming, and so on. Although we recognize the urgency of these problems, there is always time to reflect, to postpone decisions. Remember how the main conclusion of the last meeting of the superpower leaders in Bali about ecology was hailed as a success. But why? Because they concluded to meet again in 2 years to continue. But did you notice how, in contrast to all this, whenever there is ecological crisis, poverty, they say, oh, it's difficult, it's a complex problem. There is time to reflect, to double-check it. But here it was an absolute emergency. When banks need money, no problem. What Americans did you notice, is they practically introduced a kind of political emergency state. There was a vote, first vote, where the measures were rejected, and basically the ruling elite concluded, no, this was the wrong vote. So they practically introduced a kind of a extraordinary measure, saying basically the message was, fuck off, now it's for the real. It's no longer a comedy, we don't have time, we have to make the right decision. With all the twisting of arms in which all, including Obama, participated and so on. So the panic was here absolute. Here it was really, tens of millions may be dying. In Congo there may be a tragedy, whatever. We have time. Here, when it's the question of banks, the urgency is absolute. And let us also not forget that the sublimely enormous sum of money, and I mean here sublime in the precise Kantian sense, because indeed somewhere, I don't know, okay, maybe I am, but I'm definitely not rich. Richer than some of you, although I think there are some of you who are richer than me, but for us, where does it become meaningless? Somehow I can think in millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars. But when you go above, like 700 billions, it's sublime in the sense of it doesn't really mean anything, no? But as some, not leftists, but like not right-wing, economists like Joseph Stiglitz put it very nicely, the point of this throwing money wasn't that economically it makes real sense. It was to re-establish trust. I love this paradox. And Stiglitz even says that because of this, even if economically it makes no sense, it may work. Because what matters is not does it have economic sense, but that it will restore people's trust. And this brings us to ideology today, because trust is a fundamental ideological category. Again, this proves that I was right when I claimed capital is today's real. Hunger, AIDS, reality. With reality you are pragmatic, you negotiate, yes, maybe we should give money for this, will it be well spent, what to do. But when you encounter the real, there is no time to negotiate, you do it. So compare the 700 billions destined to stabilize the banking system by the US alone to the fact that of 22 billions pledged by richer nations to help poorer nations agriculture in this year of food crisis, only 2.2 billions have been made available. And the blame for this food crisis cannot be put on the usual suspects, the favored usual suspects of our media: corruption, inefficiency, state interventionism of the third world countries, and so on and so on. On the contrary, this food crisis is directly dependent on the globalization of agriculture. Now you will say, if you are center liberal, what leftist crap shit am I selling you? Maybe, but the leftist on whom I'm referring here is Bill Clinton. And I think one should use even Bill Clinton, anyone, when he tells the truth. I'm referring here to a not bad text by Clinton. It's his comment as reported by Associated Press on October 23rd of this year. Clinton's comment on the global food crisis at the United Nations gathering marking World Food Day. Here is already the title of Clinton's report, which is interesting. We blew it on global food. And the essence of Clinton's speech was that today's global food crisis shows how, quote, he was honest enough, we all blew it, including me when I was president, end of quote, by treating food crops as commodities instead of as a vital right of the world's poor. Words he used. Clinton was very clear in